One more tug and he came with a pair of icy blue eyes and mounds of muscles swimming behind his closed lids. Slumping down flat, he caught his breath. Too busy with the agency, he didn't have sex often. He was more likely to satisfy himself using his hand rather than some random fuck. Using the sheet to wipe up the cum on his chest and stomach, he pulled the comforter over his cooling body. Heavy, sleepy eyes blinked. Mac. Fucking Mac. The man still brought him to his knees. The line at Paso Robles, one of California's homeless shelters, was long and Noah waited patiently. At the end of it, the woman facing him was grandmotherly, with her hair pulled back in a loose bun. She wore a layered cream-colored blouse draped over a loose, flowing brown skirt that reached the floor, and the clothes hung on her slender frame. She looked him up and down, obviously sensing he wasn't there for the food, and gave the coupon she was holding to the man standing in line behind Noah. "Okay, Harry, go get yourself something to eat," the woman said before jerking her head to Noah. Leading Noah down a short hall, the woman stopped and suddenly turned. "How old are you?" she demanded. Noah smiled and showed her his ID card, another alias name on the front. The woman frowned and then sighed before leading him into a small, cramped office. "Ned Barton, 24. You look younger," she said. "Thank you, I think," Noah teased, turning on the charm with a quick smile. He bowed with a sweep of his arm. He could do charming. She shook her head at his antics, taking in his new jeans and button-down shirt he'd changed into after stuffing the tux he'd worn to the gala in his trunk. "I'm Betty May Lincoln, and you're no stray." "Well, Betty May Lincoln, as you've seen, I'm Ned Barton, and I'm looking for a man." Noah pulled out his phone and showed her the picture of Terrence Manning. The mugshot of the man was from the FBI's most wanted list. "Why are you asking me?" The woman turned away, nervously shuffling some papers on her desk, then opened a drawer and shoved pencils, a few bills, and paper clips inside before slamming it shut. Noah leaned back against the closed door and watched the woman's quiet yet frantic movements. "Because your name came up on a list that is associated with this man." Noah tapped the phone. "You ask too many questions about that man." She pointed toward Noah's phone. "And you'll end up dead." "That's a possibility, but I still need to find him." Noah prodded when the woman seemed lost in some hellish thought. Betty May blanched and her face whitened. "Son, that man's a crazy kind of bad. You'd do well to steer clear of him." She lifted her hand to cover her mouth, her gaze darting wildly around. "I get it. I really do." Noah softened his voice. He didn't want to spook her more than he already had. "Can you tell me why you're on Manning's list?" She didn't say anything for a long moment, and then she said, "About 10 years ago, my granddaughter was murdered." She blinked back tears and sank into the desk chair. "She was 19. I knew she was hooked on drugs, but I couldn't get her to quit." Betty May's watery gaze met his. "I tried so hard, but she just couldn't." The woman looked down at her folded hands, and Noah reached out and plucked a tissue from a box on the desk and crouched near her chair. He pressed the tissue into her hand, and she sniffled into it and wiped her eyes. "What happened?" Noah asked gently. "One day, she stopped by my house and said that she wasn't feeling good. I laid her down in bed and went to make her some soup," she mumbled, twisting her fingers around the tissue. "They came through the back door, ripped her open and took back their drugs while holding me at gunpoint in the kitchen." She pounded her tiny fist angrily in her lap, and Noah covered her hands with one of his. She looked at him, lost, still grieving, not able to voice what they'd done to her granddaughter, but Noah knew. "I have 2 other grandchildren," she sobbed. Noah would bet his life that both Manning and Stevenson had threatened Betty May and her family if she ever breathed a word. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders and drew her against him, holding her for a moment, and then eased her back to arm's length. He wouldn't put it